Good morning, students. Now, last time I discussed about Renaissance. Now, I'm going to talk about Renaissance sculpture. I think you all must have studied Renaissance, and I tried my best to tell you in detail about Renaissance. Now, I'll discuss about Renaissance sculpture. Now, if I talk about Renaissance sculpture, the first thing which comes into our mind is that Michelangelo. You all have heard it. Michelangelo was one of the greatest artists of Renaissance period. Now he was a genius. He was an extraordinary sculptor, and he was a different person by nature. Michelangelo, if we really think about Michelangelo, then we'll find that this is a very rare personality which we had during Renaissance time. Now, he was gifted with many talents like painting, sculpture, poetry, just like Leonardo da Vinci. You all have heard Leonardo da Vinci was a versatile artist. In the same way, Michelangelo was also a versatile artist. Now, during his time, popes and princes also admired his work, and everyone admired and appreciated his work. As I have said, that he was a very talented artist, and his talents were so great that people thought that he was not a human being. He was a superhuman being, and he had humanistic characteristic also he had, because it was a rare personality. So if I talk about the key points of Renaissance sculpture, the first thing I need to write, that is the greatest artist, Michelangelo. This was the first point. I'll say that the greatest artist was Michelangelo, and he had a strong view about art, and that's why he had some problem with his assistant also, because his assistants and other artists did not agree with Michelangelo, including Leonardo da Vinci also. He had a strong view about art. He was a different character, you can say, and he had a violent temperament. That's why it was very difficult for him to work with other artists. Now, if I talk about his work, his masterpiece work was David, that you all know. David was his masterpiece work. Masterpiece work, that is David. Next, now if I want to talk about David, then I must say that in drawing and painting and in sculpture we always talk about proportion. Then David is a very good example of correct proportion. if we talk about rhythm, David is a very good example of rhythm. If I talk about balance, then also David is a very good example of that. So all the things were equally visible in David sculpture. And if we talk about anatomical uh, drawing, that is absolutely correct. It is a human figure, a nude figure, a young figure. So that's it is made of marble. He made it. Michelangelo made it with marble. Now, next very important and very different work is Pieta. Pieta is another a very good work of Michelangelo. Now, in Pieta, I'll say that it is a sculpture where you can see Mother Mary is there and who is holding Jesus Christ. Mother Mary's facial expression is beautiful, her face is beautiful, and it is a very good example of expression. And the most important thing is that Mother Mary's figure is much more larger than Jesus Christ. Now, why is it so? The thing is that, the reason is that during that time, we need a huge and powerful mother who can support Jesus Christ. That's why Mary's figure much more larger than Jesus Christ. That is a very special quality which Michelangelo made. Next, if I talk about another work, then I'll say another very great work was Moses. Moses was another great work of Michelangelo. Now, Moses means a great leader, a great lawgiver. That is Moses. Now, in Moses' sculpture also, you can see a very perfect and accurate portrait, a human figure. So, this is also a very good example of realistic work, absolutely perfect work. And the last, I'll talk about very important work he made, that is the ceiling of Sistine Chapel, that we all know. And you will be surprised to know that in Sistine Chapel, he had painted 145 pictures, and out of which 300 figures were there, and most of the pictures were 10 feet high. 10 feet high figure he made it, which was very difficult to make. So only and only a superhuman can make this sculpture. So that's why Michelangelo was a genius, as I have said earlier in the beginning. And this great artist died at the age of 89, and he was the greatest artist of his time. So this is all about the Renaissance sculpture Michelangelo. Thank you.